we have another show tomorrow. We have another webinar tomorrow, so we can definitely get you some more questions and get as much answered as possible. And then you can also just meet us in a non-business way, I guess. But to get us started right now, if y'all want to introduce yourselves, people that are on the REB with me, we start with Chris.
Hey, I'm Chris. I'm the R4 Programs Chair. Sorry, let me turn the volume up. I'm the R4 Programs Chair for this 2018-2019 year. I go to the University of Michigan, and I'm a junior. What else did you want me to say?
No, that's it. That's right. Demario, you want to go ahead?
What's up, y'all? My name is Demario Webb. Graduating fifth year, thank God. Studying aerospace engineering, attending the Ohio State University, and I'm serving as your R4 secretary.
Jasmine, you can go ahead.
Hi everyone, my name is Jasmine Delva. I'm currently the Region 4 Technical Outreach and Community Health Chairperson. I attend Kettering University. I'm a fifth year senior studying industrial engineering.
And then Jay.
What's bracket, y'all? My name is Jay Sharma. I'm your Region 4 parliamentarian. I'm a junior at Purdue University studying civil and architectural engineering.
Jay, what's going on? What are you doing?
Oh, I'm walking in the rain with my Tim's on.
That's commitment right there. I appreciate that. Thank you. So thank y'all for coming through and helping answer all the questions and giving y'all knowledge to our shadows. So for people that are watching right now, if you do have questions or comments that you want to put down, you can definitely put that in the group chat. I can't see it, so I will try to answer or respond as much as possible. But for now, we can just get started with the questions. I do have a few for everybody here. So first question, why did you join the REB? And Chris, you can start it because you're first on my list.
Sorry, can you read that?
Why did you join the REB?
Okay. So why did I join the REB? I was actually at a convention during the time when nominations were open. Kevin nominated me from the floor. And then I gave some thought to it and just thought it would be good for me. Kemi was also on the board. She's the international membership chair. She had actually reached out to me before convention and told me it's something I should look into. So then when I looked into it, the application had already closed. So originally I just planned on running later, not from the floor, but like when appointments came out. But I'm thankful that Kevin put me in the or gave me the opportunity to run from the floor by nominating me, and then from there just really talking to everyone I can about the position. I just wanted to be on it just because I like to serve NSBE, and but it's just something I want to do. So putting myself in a position where if the board wasn't full at that moment in time, then stepping up to serve was definitely something I wanted to do.
Cool. Demario, what about you? Why did you join the REB?
Can y'all hear me?
Yeah.
So I joined the REB really just to get a deeper knowledge of what NSBE is all about. I served on multiple positions at the chapter level. Last year I was the chapter president of Ohio State, and was the next step for me. I was the highest rank at Ohio State, so I said I might as well see what I can do on the regional executive board and just learn how NSBE operates on a higher level.
Jasmine, what about you?
So I joined the REB because I actually was the torch chair on my chapter level, and I seen the impact that we had as a chapter to our community. So me being involved in NSBE for 4 years at that point, I decided that I wanted to take it a step further and have a bigger impact. So I decided to run for the REB to see what type of impact I can make on a higher level. Kind of sort of like Demario said, and understand NSBE, the structure of NSBE as a whole. So.
And Jay, you can go ahead.
Cool. So last year I was a chapter senator for Purdue, and there was kind of like a lack of information that was being spread down because the parliamentarian before me had to step down. So a lot of the times, like, we was in the group chat just like wondering like what's going on, and so I took the initiative to like reach out to Shelby, who was the past Region 4 chair, just to figure out like what we should be doing. I kept talking to people because I felt like I was wasting my time, and I was wasting NSBE's time, which really affected me. And I was like, there's so much more that we could be doing. Then once I got like the direction, I realized just like the impact that the Region 4 Senate has in terms of keeping the society together. And yeah, like, I mean, people at my chapter always just like commended me on how much I knew about NSBE and the type of ideas that I would come up with. And so parliamentarian kind of was just like logistically like the best next step for me. And I love it. The parliamentarian is like an advisor role, and I don't like being kind of the face of things. I like being behind the scenes. And so it's a perfect position for me.
Cool. Okay. So to follow that, how was the process of going from the chapter level to regional level? We'll go in the same order. Don't keep saying any names.
Going from the chapter to the regional level, I'd say it was difficult just in terms of there's a lot of information that you have to like kind of digest quickly, but it's definitely not impossible. I feel like it was definitely because of the network I had within NSBE. That made it easier, just having a ton of people you could ask questions to. And then like that's one of the things even this program allows people to do, just know people that they could go to ask questions to try to make the process easier. As far as making it easier for whoever steps into our shoes next, making sure we have like really solid transition reports, so that the next people come in kind of know what the baseline is and then kind of even exceed us. But I would say as far as the transition, was definitely something like manageable as long as you were comfortable reaching out to ask people questions.
I guess it's on me next. Uh, I feel as though the switch was a bit rough at first, just because there was a learning curve going from CB to REB, just because you have the whole region looking at you. It's one thing just having your chapter know you, but another thing when you have to represent 6 states of NSBE, and it can be intimidating, but it's also fun. I think it's cool just having the opportunity of representing so many people and being able to put on so many, just having more responsibilities. It's really interesting to me. But every day I'm learning. So it's just to be minding as a secretary and first time operating in the comm zone. So just every day in this position, I'm just learning. It's just interesting to me.
Yeah, kind of going off what Demario said. Just as far as stepping into the position, I feel like you learn more quicker on the REB than at the chapter level. In terms of like your communication with other people, just skills that are like be transferable like for the rest of your life. I feel like you have to just adapt quicker on the REB than at the chapter level.
Okay. Well, for me, the transition to be in the program zone on the RB level is actually a little bit easier for me because I've been in the program zone at my chapter level for pretty much every position that I had for my chapter level. So it was kind of easy to take the same things that I knew as a programs chair and kind of apply it to my role in the program zone. But as Chris said, you do learn a lot about how to like communicate with other people and how to give instruction and try to make sure that, you know, you're providing the correct resources for the people who are, you know, your counterparts and things like that, because you are actually trying to kind of explain your vision and what you want to do for the year to people, and you have to make sure that that's communicated effectively in order to achieve the goals that you have set. There's a lot of skills that we develop as REB members that you don't really notice on the chapter level because it's at a smaller level. But when you start to learn a lot of logistic stuff and everything like that, it becomes more applicable to your life in the future. So
Am I up next?
Yeah, Jay, you up?
Bet. I say the transition was a bit difficult, only because when I got on and when I first met the board, so I was appointed, and so when I first like actually met everyone was at our regional transition meeting, and it was just kind of daunting because I think there was like at least 5 chapter presidents already, and back at Purdue, like our chapter president was always seen as like a very knowledgeable person, a very humble and respectable person. So in position, so like when I got to the REB and I found out that like there's all these chapter presidents who are now in the REB, and I just had 1 year of experience. I was like, damn, am I really ready? So I kind of doubted myself a little bit, but then I found out that like we're all in the same position in terms of like we were all first timers with the exception of Malik. So that kind of made it easier. And like Chris said, the learning curve is super steep. I learned more in the first month of being on the REB than I did a whole year in the senator position. And when I say that, I think that like I went a whole year and I thought I knew a lot, but then you get thrown in the REB, or not thrown, you get acclimated to the REB and you learn things like crazy, and you mess up and you learn from it. You talk to advisors, and like your whole way of thinking is very kind of clear cut as soon as you get in the REB, and it's helped me in terms of like my social life, my academic life, and my professional life.
All right. Next question. How do you balance school and being on the REB?
Could you repeat that, please?
How do you balance being in school and being on the REB? And Jay, we can start with you to switch it over.
Okay. It's interesting. One thing I learned is like time management is key, but like when we say time management, like what does that even mean? So for myself, I tend to prioritize NSBE over academics, which like obviously is not the best thing to do. But what I do is I section off times of the day of every day where I work on NSBE, or like I'm dedicated to NSBE work. And so that deals with dealing with other communication like emails, correspondence, things like that, working on engaging with the Senate, which I tend to do kind of constantly. And then in terms of just like things that come up pretty urgently, like for example, this week we had something that come up very urgent, and they couldn't wait to our meeting. That kind of took precedence. And I noticed that my role as a part of the chain and as a board member of the regional board, like if I don't do my job, other people can't do their job. And so I don't like preventing other people from succeeding. So when I do NSBE work, I try to get it done as efficiently and as quick as possible so I can hand it off to the next person, and so it can get completed as fast as possible. Whereas like academics, some of my things, like I like to work on my assignments early. So I know that, okay, if I work on NSBE for an hour or two and I get this thing done, not only will someone else work on it and get their stuff done, but I'll also have time to go back and do the rest of the studying that I had to do, and so on and so forth.
I know I prioritize, unlike Jay, I prioritize school before NSBE. So I know there's been a couple times people have emailed me on the board, and I tried to follow a 48-hour policy, but I don't always abide by that. But everybody seems to be understanding. Everybody recognizes that we're students. We did have a mishap earlier where I wasn't able to get the minutes out and the action items out, and had someone else do it. And they were trying to figure out like why I didn't send it out. And the advisors were understanding. I told them that I had several exams I was prepping for. I didn't have the time at that moment to go through the minutes and make sure I got all the action items. They were like, you're a student first, I understand, but just make sure you do X, Y, Z first. So they're willing to work with you. They want you to get the degree more than anything. So if they feel as though you need to focus on your academics, they'll pull you aside and tell you, hey, you need to focus on your academics. So don't feel as though the REB is something where it's like, man, like my grades are gonna suffer. No, we still want you to have a good GPA. Like if your grades are gonna suffer from being on here, then there's something wrong with the board dynamic. So the goal of this board is just for you to still be a part of NSBE, but not to hinder your academics.
Jasmine or Chris, you can go ahead.
Yeah, I kind of agree with Demario. So I'm a student, even before a student, just a person first. So making sure, like I have to eat, have to like go exercise if that's something that helps me keep sane in school. So I have to do those things. Can't miss out. And, like I haven't even been on that. Like I only get to the gym like once or twice a week now. But I've been trying to get there a little bit more, and definitely making sure my homework assignments are due are always complete. But after that, I try to prioritize NSBE as high as I can after, like, obviously my mental health in school. So, like, this past weekend, had to miss a tailgate, a football game. It is what it is, but definitely the time's all there. So it's just really about how you prioritize it. But NSBE is definitely something that I hold high. So it's not really a problem.
As far as me, number one, Google Calendar is like the easiest thing to do in order to keep track of your schedule. But I really make sure that I plan out my schedule ahead of time. And if I have anything that I need to kind of like delay and be like, okay, well, I'll come back to it, then that's what I have to do. But most of the time, like most foremost, academics first. So I make sure that my schoolwork is done. And a lot of times, if you're like on the weekend or something like that and you have time, you can work on some of your NSBE stuff. You don't have to work always on it during the school week. You can focus on your academics. A lot of times it's just making sure that you prioritize and organize your schedule in order to make sure NSBE fits in with your schedule. Because at the end of the day, like everybody said, you are a student first. So as long as you're able to kind of like navigate your schedule around, NSBE around your schedule as a student, you should be fine.
Yeah, I definitely agree with everything that y'all said. But what did come up in a few of your answers were your advisors. So how does your REV advisor help you in your position?
Shout out to Stacy Ann, yo. But the advisors they're great. Like the way they put things into perspective for you is great. And it goes even beyond NSBE. Just the way they make you think about just really the effect of what you're doing or the why. I know Carl Reed says this, NSBE's executive director. He always says like focus on the why. And then the advisors really they ask like you the questions that constantly make you think about like, well, what's the purpose of this? Like, what are we even doing this for anyway? And then if you can always answer that, then you're golden. Like if you know completely what your purpose is in doing everything, then really like details are details and you'll be able to get there. So definitely the way the advisor just make you look at things is priceless.
Yeah. Damari, you gonna speak?
Oh, you can go.
Okay, well, Stacey Ann is my advisor too, and she she a real one. I can tell y'all that she like a lot of them really are honest with you. They give you advice. They give you advice not just about like school, but life in general too. Like my personal mentor is Jarrell Johnson. I think that's his last name. Oh Lord, y'all don't tell him that. But anyway, don't tell him that. But anyway, he gave me advice about like me and my career, and Stacey Ann made help me look at like different perspectives of viewing a situation. So they give you advice, but it's not just like they don't always expect to tell you how to do your job. They just try to get you to understand what you're doing, why you're doing it, and how you can do it to your best ability. So I definitely give our advisors props because they do build you to be leaders.
Yeah, I agree with that. Our advisors, some people may think that they're demanding, but I just feel as though they see the true potential in us and they want us to actually tap into that. So it's like they may seem aggressive, but it's like because they're frustrated because we don't see the bigger picture or we're not giving that extra effort that they know that we can give. And I really respect them for that, just trying to bring the best out of us. And they're really just some dope people just to get to know. Like, but just them as people, they're really like just really great people to just talk with. And I just ride what was it 3 hours to 2.5 3 hours to Cleveland with one of the advisors, and we had just some interesting conversations, some good talks, and like they're just some great people to have in your back corner, to be honest.
Jay, are you on?
Yeah, definitely echoing what Demario said too. As far as like some people might see them as like overly I don't know what was it? I forget what the word Demario,
Aggressive.
aggressive. I wouldn't say aggressive, but like
Overbearing.
yeah, overbearing. But it's really you want people in your corner that are gonna push you to be the best. Like just like Demario said, like you need those people in your corner because if someone's kind of just saying, "Oh, you're doing great," you're really not getting better. And this is an experience that really just makes you a better leader. So it's definitely great having the advisors.
Yeah, with our advisors, even though we might have one specific advisor to our zone, we do have access to all of our advisors. So we have all of them to get the knowledge from. They'll definitely pipe in with their information to help us and better our region. Essentially, they want to help us do that too. So always keep that in mind, and you can also bring that down to your chapter advisors too. They have knowledge that you'll want to gain. So listen to all the advisors that you can, get all the information that you can. But on to the next question. So we have an event coming up pretty soon. Hopefully y'all know about it. FRC is approaching. So what is your involvement in FRC?
Are they asking us?
I'm asking y'all.
Oh, well, as the torch chair, I'm conducting a book drive in order to give the books to Detroit for the library benches that
Oh, hold on. What's good, y'all?
Okay. That the CPC created in order to reach the Detroit community. And also, I'm conducting a STEM carnival for some high school seniors in Cleveland, and in order to introduce them to more STEM activities and what like different STEM topics or different subjects they're about, so we can actually try to get more interest in STEM in that area. Other than that, I'm going to be helping with any and every other thing program related as needed. So that's my involvement in FRC.
Jay, to catch you up, I previously asked how your advisors help you in the REB, and currently I'm asking about the involvement in FRC. So if you want to answer either of those, that's cool.
Yeah, I can answer the second one. In terms of advising me for FRC, not much because my involvement in FRC is different than a lot of other positions. I'm technically part of admin zone, so my advisor, she helps me deal with protocol and deal with certain processes. So, for example, if we need to, if we have like a certain type of motion or certain type of kind of event that we want to carry out, there's a very specified way that we got to do things, and that's my entire responsibility. So if I'm unsure about something, I reach out to my advisor and they give me advice. And then in addition, part of my role as an advisor to the chair and the vice chair,
if I'm if I notice something and I feel like there's ways that we can like increase effectiveness, I kind of go to the advisor first and say, is this a good idea? Like, how should I bring this up to those two? And then I just like talk about board dynamics, figure out ways to make things more efficient and how to increase communication.
Really, oh, you can go, Chris.
You got it.
I'll keep it brief. My involvement really is just with getting the information out to everybody, just overseeing that process. So like guidebook, the agenda, currently working on that. You guys will get the agenda soon. Don't worry. If anybody asks you when y'all getting the agenda, it'll be soon. Just tell them that. Also, just when you guys actually go to conference, just make sure that all the rooms have the different labeling for the different events. That's going to be my duties, but that's really about it. Oh, and I will oversee our headquarters while we're there, but I'm not as involved as Chris is, since he's with the programs, and FRC is all about the programming.
Yeah, it's gonna be busy. Especially right now, if you're watching this and you're interested in PCI, I would highly encourage you to join the PCI mini conference committee. And you could even apply for the position, which automatically puts you on the committee so you can help out with FRC. But we'll be needing some help. So right now, heading into FRC, everything within the PCI programming will be under me right now, as we're without a PCI chair. So anything that, as far as our competitions for them, as far as our fun activities and tours that we do with them, that's all I have to make sure that all gets executed. And then just from a programming standpoint, all the competitions, making sure that I work with my zone to make sure that those are executed correctly, and running the zone functional, obviously, for like each of us has to do that on the admin zone. So Demario too. But yeah, so just making sure that that gets done. And yeah, I don't know. It'll be an interesting, interesting 3 days.
And I just want to remind our viewers, if you do have questions, please post them in the chat so I can see them, and then I can ask them to our board if they can't see it already. I just have a few more questions. So, what is your favorite part about planning FRC so far, at least?
Well, I guess I'll go. I mean, I think it's like taking an idea and seeing you like create something, like create an event, or well, consider I'm in the program zone, create like a program or an event, and then see it come to life. Like figuring out all the logistics and things like that. That's something that really interests me, just to see, because you're anticipating like the reaction that you get from the people that you're putting this event for. So sometimes it might be a little tough, but at the same time, I like the fact that I have a goal in order to impact people's lives positively. So, I'm going to try to make sure I can do my best in my ability to make that happen. So.
I hate to say the same thing I've already said, but I guess just the growth of it, it pulls you a lot of different directions, especially like within, like in the program zone, just like planning events. Even if you just take a single competition, if you take debaters, which is under engineering diversity, like just that, we'll take like making sure that everything in that position gets executed. Like that goes into, you have to secure vendors for the marketplace, get judges for the competitions. You'd have to like create a timeline of the event, like just the stuff that goes into one competition that like a lot of the membership will just sign up for and get to participate in for however long, a half hour. It's like definitely interesting to see how much goes into event planning. So the growth and just the exposure to it has been great.
For me, I just really like just seeing the back how things are done in the background. It's my first time on the RAB, so I've gone to these conferences and I always saw the final product and never saw how we got from point A to point B. So just being on the other side and just seeing the logistics that goes into putting on one of these conferences really just makes me appreciate FRC a lot more and just all the hard work that goes into it. And it's just like I said, when I wanted to join the RAB, I wanted to understand how NSBE operates on a higher level, and just seeing that is just helping me understand it even more.
I forgot the question.
This guy Jay, yo.
Yo, so is it about FRC? Like,
what's your
what do we
favorite
do?
part about planning FRC?
Oh, I say maybe the calls, because like they're really long, but like we go through the agenda, and a lot of times there's things that like I'll catch, but like it'll be like a line item or two behind, and so just like talking about logistics with people, it really is something that I've gotten good at. So like for example, like Demario said, like the actual planning of it. When we think of what makes a successful conference, we tend to think of outcome. And so part of what I've been doing leading up to this whole process is like envisioning the FRC that I want in my head and what that translates to in terms of planning. So if I was a general member, so I try to look at myself from a year ago, what would I want? If I was a senator, what would I want? If I was a freshman coming to NSBE in college, what would I be looking for? And just like, what is the message that we want to send to our membership? Because there's a lot of things that we can make it very professional. We could also make it very social. And so trying to achieve that balance and then just bounce ideas back and forth with the REB is super fun. Just because I love to throw out things. And like one or two people respond to it, and that's enough for me to validate like, okay, maybe we should run with this, maybe we shouldn't. And so that's been my favorite part of this whole planning process.
Good. So again, just want to remind the viewers, if you have any questions or any comments that you want to have said, please put in the chat so I can ask them and get them answered for you. One or two more questions. I'll see how long we have left. But being on the board, how do you stay motivated, or how do you help motivate others?
Listen, I mean, at the end of the day, like we all act like a family on our board. So that's just like, if say for instance, if somebody that was close to you was going through something, then you would try to put your best foot forward and try to make them feel better about not only what they're going through, but about themselves. In order for us to cooperate as a board, that energy needs to be there, that motivation for all of us to keep moving forward, because we're a team at the end of the day. So if we see areas where some of us are lacking, or we try to make sure that we check on each other and help each other stay afloat, because we students struggling through college, trying to get through college, dealing with life. And this is a growing process for all of us. So just having that energy to be like, you know what, treat you like my brother, treat you like my sister. If you're going through something, let me know, or and vice versa. We share that that dynamic to motivate each other, because we all have a common goal, which is to provide a great experience for our membership for this year. So
Yeah, it's pretty easy to stay motivated. Especially it's just like, things move pretty fast. So you got to keep up with that email. Like especially we have guidelines even for communication. So it's just, things happen. Like you got to stay up on it. So you never really have that downtime to lose the motivation. And so I think it'll definitely be a good growing moment for our board to see how much effort to make sure that we continue to put in that effort after FRC when a lot of these constant deadlines and things ramp down. But it'll be definitely cool to see. So yeah, motivation is definitely easy because we all know the mission and we want to like actually impact it. So as long as you're really about that, motivation is pretty easy.
Yeah, I think it's pretty easy to stay motivated, especially when you got so many great people around you. Like you see them doing good, it's like I gotta do good too. So it's like you're pushing each other to just do better and type of dynamic amongst us. I feel as though it's just real easy to stay motivated. And like Chris was saying, we all believe in the mission. We all believe we are all trying to achieve the 2025 goal of graduating 10K Black engineers each year. Uh, and it's just trying to achieve that, trying to work towards that in the end. It's just trying, is what keeps me motivated at least, just having that end goal in mind.
Yeah, motivation is cool. I think when you attach yourself to a mission and when you attach yourself to a goal, and like just knowing the difference between the two. So like a goal it'd be something that's finite, something that you can reach, but a mission is something that you're always working towards. And when we think about our NSBE mission, like I could see it in each one of our board members. Like we live the mission, and so every day I think about NSBE. I think about ways to improve it. I'm always talking about NSBE, and so translating that into actual work is pretty it's been easy for me ever since I started being on the chapter board. And motivation, it like Demario said, like you see everyone else being motivated, so it keeps you kind of grounded. And yeah, like yeah.
All right, well, that's all the questions that I had. Board, if you have any last remarks, this would be the time to speak your piece. Okay, and I don't see any questions in the group, like the last call for it.
I got a question.
What's up?
So tomorrow's webinar, is that going to be different questions?
We're going to keep them the same questions for people that did not attend this webinar, just so they do have that same experience. And we're going to have different board members on the webinar too, so you can also get different insights also. So if y'all want to come back, that would be pretty cool. But expect the same questions, but different answers will probably be coming out of everybody. So prepare for that.
Bet. Hey, Les.
And speaking of the next webinar, it is tomorrow at the same time. I will send out a fresh link to one that works. I'll send that tonight also, so you can look forward to that too. But, good. Y'all got anything else to say? Any good words for people that got exams pretty soon?
Hey,
Turn up with the FRC.
Get that dub.
Yeah.
Go to
Off break, I'm chilling.
Go to FRC.
Oh, just kidding.
FRC.
We got a question.
Turn up, learn some stuff.
Orlando, what you recording on, bro? You recording on Android?
We got a question. We got a question for somebody, so I'm gonna ignore the disrespect that I just got.
It's all love. It's all love.
Okay. Wow. So the question is, looking at all the hard work and passion that each of you put into your positions, how would you transcribe that passion and excitement towards those who haven't attended a conference?
Well, I mean, since my mic already unmuted, it necessarily doesn't have to just be at the conference. Our passion comes from the mission, right? So if you really understand what the mission is, what that entails, and what you can contribute to it, that's where your passion comes from. So if you understand what NSBE is trying to do, especially seeing, as Jay said, those kids that get excited about STEM and how, that you were those same kids like, years ago, it's a great way to sit there and be like, okay, this is what I can do for, the upcoming and future engineers. What can we do to sit there and make it easier for them to come through? So a lot of that passion comes from just being able to look at the people who are coming behind you, see the people who came before you, and realize your impact on, the NSBE mission. It literally essentially is how you feel about the NSBE mission. That's where that passion comes from.
I'm gonna repeat the question.
I can speak to that. So when you see, I say like as a attendee of FRC, when you see REB or when you see other chapters who are super passionate about NSBE, try to ask yourself, how can I keep that same energy? Because that internal drive is what's going to keep you going, not only in NSBE but in engineering. There's countless stories of how people switch out of engineering, and that's how NSBE kind of started. 80% of Black engineering students dropped out after 1 year because they didn't have the tools that they needed to succeed, or they didn't have the motivation. So we have at a conference, we have a great display of Black excellence. We have a great kind of diverse talent all in one room. So try to internalize that. Try to internalize the feeling that you have and apply it to every aspect of your life. And that's how you could stay on top of things and kind of just hope for the best and be the best that you can be.
Yeah,
Can you repeat the question?
Going back to the question, like outside of FRC, like passion, and then this is something obviously that we're working on as a board, like making sure that we're doing things outside of FRC. Obviously, we have our village calls, and we're reaching out to our chapter counterparts and making sure that they have the information they need. But also, we have to figure out like what we can do from a programmatic standpoint, or what we can do in terms of creating toolkits, or how we can make our chapters' lives easier, so that on like each chapter on that one by one basis can really impact their membership, because each chapter is different. Like their graduation rates are different, their size are different, so obviously they each need individual attention. So it's really it's a tall task trying to figure out how for each chapter we can help increase the number, but that's what we're trying to do.
And for you, Demario, the question was, how would you transcribe that passion and excitement towards those who haven't attended a conference? How you keep the passion flowing?
And like, does that question mean like, I guess I'm confused by the question. Like, how do we treat people who aren't at conference?
How would you get people that haven't been to a conference passionate?
I got you, Demario. Follow the Calm Zone on all social media. Read their emails. Look at their flyers.
Yes, do all that. But I feel as though if they haven't been to a conference and you want to get them passionate about NSBE, I feel as though just relaying the information that we tell y'all. So like the different initiatives that we got going, the different goals we're trying to reach. What I found out is just that there's a common loss of information between the REB to the CEB and to the general body. So like us, we know the mission for 2025, but if I ask a general body member, how many of them actually know about that goal that we have? And if they don't know about that goal that we're all striving for, how are they going to feel as passionate as I am when I know what we're working towards and they don't? So I feel so just making sure, and that's on us as well, just trying to be more transparent about what we're doing, the initiatives we got going on, and like what's the true goal. I feel as though if you can get people to buy in to the goal of NSBE, it doesn't matter what you do, as long as you're working towards that goal, you can get people passionate about it, whether or not they've been to FRC or not.
All right.
So I got one last thing. I'm sorry, Landra. Try to, if it's your first time coming to a conference, try to maximize your time outside your hotel room, and try to be outside at all times. Like meet as many people as you can, to have as many conversations as you can, and I guarantee like something will definitely come out of the people that you meet at FRC.
Definitely agree with that. So that question was from Jalen from Illinois Institute of Technology. He's the treasurer there. He's also on my shadow, so thank you for that. Appreciate it. We got one more question from Joy. She's from MSOE. She is the membership? No, programs chair. She's programs chair. Yeah.
And senator.
And senator. That's okay. So she asked, what is one takeaway from your experience so far, and what is one advice that you would give to the people on the CEB? So 2 questions, I guess.
Could you repeat that again? I'm sorry.
Yep. What is one takeaway from your experience so far, and what is one piece of advice you would give to the people on the CEB?
Oh, I'll start this off. So, one takeaway I have from just being in this position is just honestly, it just goes to my board, just meeting all these great people. I was on the chapter level executive board for what 3 years, and it's like I was so confined to my school bubble, but being on the REB really like opened my eyes to what goes on at other schools. I honestly thought all schools, NSBE chapters, have to operated like mine. So it's like it opened my eyes up to what other issues schools have, different initiative, why we have certain initiatives or certain programming or certain funding for different things. It has helped me develop an understanding of why we do what we do and how we operate. Piece of advice: feel free to take on the challenge. Don't let being on the REB seem so distant. I'm just a college student. We're all just college students. We're all engineering students. So we're just like y'all. We just like a lot of us are. We didn't even apply. We didn't go through the process at the national convention. We just sent in our resumes and did an interview. So we just applied for this position because we just said, hey, why not? It seemed like a good fit at the time. So just don't let that, if you're interested, don't let the opportunity pass you up and you graduate and you go about your life and you're like, man, it's like, what if I would have done it? Just take on the challenge, and I'm pretty sure you'll enjoy it.
First off, shout out to Joy. She's on the PCI mini conference committee.
Yeah.
Yeah. Good work. Anyone else? But nah, definitely one key takeaway. I would say is just like you really don't know the organization until you know. So it's just like when you get on the board, like DeMario says, just so many different. Every single chapter operates like completely different. Obviously, like some of the marquee events that they put on are the same. Everyone will have a barbecue. Everyone does GPMs, all that kind of stuff. But like in terms of their even their CB meetings, like their executive boards on their chapter levels, all operate different. In terms of like how frequently they put on events throughout the semester, how difficult it is for them or how easy it is for them to get to FRC or various conferences. Just every chapter operates a little different. How easy it is for them to even get interest from membership. So seeing the problems on like a larger scale is definitely cool, and like actually trying to think about ways that you could help solve them is definitely cool. What was the other? It was key takeaway and
a piece of advice for CEB members.
Advice for CEB. Okay, advice for CEB. I would say just always know to reach out for help. Like even if you reach out, even if we don't have an answer for you, we have advisors that we can ask. We have, we know people that have been in the positions before us that we can ask. Like just, tap into everyone's network and just increase yours in the process. So reach out to other chapters, see what they're doing. Like it doesn't hurt to ask a chapter like Purdue, Ohio State, Michigan. It doesn't hurt to ask those larger chapters. UIC, like the ones that constantly are winning in amazing race. Like, what types of programming are you doing? We want to implement that here. Could you send us over some information? So definitely just making sure that you're constantly communicating with other people.
Jasmine, go ahead.
Okay, so the key takeaway I guess I can give you guys so far is that you learn a lot. Like as they said, you learn a whole lot. There's like a few things that I've learned on the REB that I actually end up applying like at my work and in my daily life. So, it's a development process, it's a learning process. And you shouldn't be scared of it, as Mario said, like take the chance. If you want to go for it, go for it. I didn't think I would get the position. But I just was like, you know what, I'm gonna just do my research and, try to show people that I can actually do this. And that's something that I wanted to convince myself of this term, and that's what I went for. So if you feel like you want to go for it, go for it. You will learn a lot. And if you don't get the position at the year that you want to do, try again. Or if not, find different ways to develop yourself. We're always constantly learning and growing every day as people. So that's one takeaway I can give you. As far as advice for CEB members, actually, pay attention to what you're doing, because a lot of times, you don't realize how much, you're learning yourself, even on a chapter level. There, I was talking to a few of my e-board members, because I'm the president of my chapter as well. And
Okay.
and I was telling my academic excellence chair, a lot of the stuff that you're learning at NSBE, he's also a e-board member for another club. I was like, you could implement everything that you're learning in NSBE to your club now, because you see, they're having issues with how they're running. So as an executive board member, you know what you need to do, go do it. Take what you're learning in NSBE and see how you can apply it in your life. Because the things that you're learning in NSBE, if you're really actually paying attention to what you're doing, is very valuable information. And as student leaders in an organization that student ran, we have a lot of experience that a lot of grown people cannot even speak to. So, or don't get that opportunity until later on in life. So pay attention to what you're doing on the chapter level, because it's really important to the development that you have. And when you actually realize your accomplishments within your position, you'll realize how far you developed yourself as a chapter leader.
I think it's supposed to end it here, unless we got some more comments.
Yeah, I got you. One key takeaway is learn how to accept feedback. One thing that we constantly do is we think that we did the research and we think that we're entitled to approval, but that's totally incorrect. Not only in NSBE but in engineering, you can't do research at your job and present it and think that all the company managers are gonna like it. Something that we learn constantly is you will be wrong, and you will fail, but it's what you do after that that really defines you and really characterizes how you'll actually perform out in the real world. And then one piece of advice I have for chapter board members is to ask questions. Even if you think you ask a lot of questions, ask even more, and try to figure out the deeper meaning of everything. Figure out why we do things and when we're going to do things. Figure out the deeper kind of intent, what we're actually here, why we all join this organization, and really push yourself to learn as much as you can.
I'm gonna mute this group. But yes, yeah. Thank you guys for answering the questions, participating. I've really appreciated. Thank you for the viewers that are watching this right now and future viewers that come to look at this video in the future. We'll end it right here because it's been about an hour-ish, and I don't want to keep you all for too much longer. It's kind of late. But we will be doing this again tomorrow, as I answered Jay's question earlier. Same time, I'll send a fresh link out. Most likely tonight. Yeah, tonight I'll send it out so that we can get this on quicker and easier. There should be more RAB members to answer your questions, and then hopefully more viewers so we can answer your questions also. But that's all I have for tonight. So thank y'all for joining us. I'll see y'all tomorrow, hopefully.
Take care.
Bye, y'all.
Good night, y'all.
Yeah.